Welcome, Rabbi Jeremy Gordon.
Chazan Stephen Cotsen.
And we're here, we're still dressed for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. You can see this beautiful curtain that we have. I remember reading somewhere this was stitched by students from the Royal College of Needlework. I never knew there was such a thing. We thought a little bit of Simchat Torah, because you never get to talk about Simchat Torah because we're all too busy dancing. So the origin of this came in Purim, when I said in front of everybody here, there's only one line in the Megillah of Purim, of Esther, that is in the liturgy during the year, which is this line from Havdalah, right? Koshishur tesal b'shem Adonai ekra, I will lift up this cup of salvation and call the name of... Right, Yehudim ha'ita ora v'simcha v'sasam v'yikar, and to the Jews there was happiness. And you kind of corrected me and you said, no, there's a piyut that we say on Simchat Torah. And I looked it up, and of course, unsurprisingly, you were absolutely right. Unsurprising that I didn't know the Piyut. Unsurprising that you were on it.
Yes, and we actually used to sing it here. This is part of our shul's tradition when I first came.
And we're going to do it this year. It's in the Routledge. We don't use this machzor anymore, largely because, to me, the translation feels too old-fashioned. But we're going to say something about the translation first. But do you want to just sing us a bit and just share how it goes?
Okay, it's traditionally sung after Ashrei and before Yehalelu, before we put the Torah back on Simchat Torah. It starts off Ashreichem Yisrael, happy are you Israel, and then it goes a melody which is a Mojitza tune, which I learned as a child in Cardiff, and we used to sing this in our choir, and it goes like this. Itkabetzu melachim zel ze ze lakavel ze Itkabetzu melachim zel ze v'yamar ze la ze mihu ze ve'ezehu ma'acheis p'nei yisei mihu ze ve'ezehu Parshe Salavanano. And of course, Mihuzeh is the Megillah bit.
Right, so it's a brilliant piyut, and it is absolutely kind of right in tune with one of these kind of really interesting ideas in rabbinics, that the angels were never really in favour of human beings being created at all. They turn around to God and say, hey God, why do you need human beings? Don't you have us? Aren't we going to be good enough for you? And God decides, thankfully, that God would rather have this fallible human thing than the perfection, but the too straight perfection of angels. And then you then get a return to that idea in Midrash and in rabbinics around the time that God decides to give Torah to, like, a Pisha, Moses. And God decides to give it to human beings, and the angel are going, don't give it to the human beings, they're only going to mess this up. So in this piyut, we have the angels who are coming together going, who is this coming up to the throne? Me who's there, the Ezer who? But the brilliance of the use of that line in the Paitan's construction of this piyut is that line is the line that Haman is just like, right at the climax of the Purim narrative, when Esther reveals that. Sorry, I've just forgotten where that comes from. When Esther says somebody's going to. Achashverosh, right? Esther says to the king that someone's going to kill me and all of my people, and the king goes, "Miuzev Ezehu," and of course, it's Haman, and it's that brilliant moment, and Haman then flings himself at Esther, only for the king to come back in and realize and think that Haman is trying to now rape his wife, having first tried to kill her, and that's the end of Haman. But it now gets kind of pulled up into this angelic chorus. But it's very, very funny, this whole piyut. And this brings us to Israel Zangwill, right? Israel Zangwill, the greatest homme de lettres of Anglo-Jewry, just an exquisite writer, and actually an exquisite translator of piyut. And one of the things that I love about the way, my favourite Israel Zangwill translation other than this is the Ashamnu Bagadnu Gazalnu, which he translates, we have abused, we have betrayed, we have acted criminally. And he does it alphabetically because he's got to the deeper point without getting too hung up on it. And we're going to sing this translation because he has written a translation to this piyut to be sung, I think, right?
I think so. I think so.
Take it away.
So, we think it goes quite well to this tune. The angels came a-mustering, a-mustering, a-mustering. The angels came a-mustering around the sapphire throne, a questioning of one another, of one another, of one another, a questioning each one his brother around the sapphire throne. Pray, who is he, and where is he, and where is he, and where is he? Whose shining cast so fair is he, a shadow on the throne. Pray, who has up to heaven come, to heaven come, to heaven come, through all the circles 7 come, to fetch the Torah down. 'Tis Moses up to heaven come, to heaven come, to heaven come, through all the circles 7 come, to fetch the Torah down. It's fabulous.
It's fabulous. I'm just looking in the little table in the back of the Routledge where they tell you who wrote these Piyutim and who translated these Piyutim. It just says the time of the Gaonim. So I'm afraid that's as much information as I have on this. But, B'schut Moshe Rabbeinu, who through all the 7 circles come to fetch the Torah down, and Israel Zangwell, pleasure to share this and to wish a Chag, Simchat Torah, Sameach, a good Shmini Atzeret. We'll be dancing here Monday night in honor of our Chatan and Kala, and also on Tuesday morning, Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.